right now, we bring to you the man that I'm not kidding. We have been requesting all week.
Actually, for like 2 years now.
That's true. It is Dane Dunning. Afternoon, sir, or I guess good morning, depending on your time zone.
Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
We were talking scouting combine there, football. Are you like having Florida football conversations with Wyatt Langford? Or are you having like those?
Not really. So I'm kind of out of the loop now of, anything Florida.
Okay.
I mean, for the most part, all my time and focus goes to my family, my wife and kids. And then if I have any spare time, obviously I go for golf or just probably not even paying attention to anything, just trying to shut my brain off.
How good are you at golf?
I've gotten better over the years. I've gotten better. I joined up at a course back home in Charlotte now, and got my handicap kind of decently low. I'm sitting about like a 7.6.
Okay.
So still got some room to work with, but I needed to go higher. That way I can get more strokes against Nate.
Could you send a message back to somebody from our morning show who insists this person, his name is Bobby, has never played golf in his life. He insists he could pick up a set of clubs, go out on the course, and shoot in the 80s the very first time.
And you can say, Bobby, you're a dumbass if you want to. That's perfectly okay.
Bobby, I would have to say that's probably not the smartest idea, considering I've known plenty of people who are the most athletic people in the world that, they can't even get off the tee box. Golf is a very technical sport, very course management type sport. And it's a lot harder than you think, and a lot of people who go out for the first time end up having that realization real quick.
Everybody we've talked to, by the way, so far, they mention you in golf. You and Nathaniel Lowe, they're always like, golf. Yeah, probably golf with those. They always bring that up. So.
Yeah. I try to get out as much as I can. My wife does a great job of letting me go. We had a little deal this offseason where I was able to go play as much golf as I wanted, as long as she was able to go play as much pickleball as she wanted. So we had that trade-off, and I think I played way more golf than she played pickleball, but no, she's absolutely amazing for letting me do that.
Would it ever be an incentive-based system based on the season? So, like, for every day your ERA remains below 3.5, you have kind of free reign to, or whatever your particular goal is.
That'll be the entire season. I mean, hopefully.
There you go. Yeah. I was trying to set a reasonable expectation. If you want to drop it to 3 flat, I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah.
Mike is a former pitcher, and I always try to tap into his brain a little bit about conversations that are happening on the field with you guys. And last year there was a moment where I was watching Jonah Heim, and he kept doing this while you were on the mound. Yep. And I think we figured out that he was telling you to step further to him, and that would give you more length. And I was just kind of curious if you can kind of help us with that.
It's more of like, hey, keep your direction in line. So like when he's doing that, it's like, all right, work towards me, like keep my direction in line towards him, because every once in a while I'll get in a bad habit of kind of just spinning off, spraying stuff, a little arm side or yanking stuff, right to left. And so it's just more of like, hey, stay through me. Like, stay through your target, finish the pitches. That's all it is.
That's great. Well, that's the stuff that I think I love to talk about with Mike, obviously, and then hear from you is those kinds of things. And then that trust with the catcher as a pitcher. That relationship's got to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, Jonah goes out there and catches. I mean, I think he caught 90% of my starts last year. So we get real comfortable of, pitch sequencing, certain things like that where – he can, like, as soon as I'm a little off or, he senses it immediately. Like, hey, like, listen, like I'm seeing this, like, hey, we need to get on top of this, right? We need to get this pitch working. We need to do this. And, like, just having them where, like, just that catcher-pitcher relationship, like, it goes a long ways because then, up on the mound, there's so many things that we're thinking of, the right position to be in, what's the next pitch I should throw. And so when you start getting on that same page where it's like, hey, like, I just threw a sinker down the way here. I want to go slider off that. And instead of having to shake to it, like he's on the same page, boom, slider, like sinker down the way, boom, slider. Like the flow of the game starts going so much better and you start getting a more of a comfortable groove. And so the more you work with the catcher, you learn from each other, like everything cleans up.
It sounds like Jonah Heim does a lot of really good work. Were you surprised when Major League Baseball forgot he played catcher and they did not list him in their top 10 MLB
That
catchers?
Honestly, that did surprise me, especially after him winning a Gold Glove All-Star.
World Series.
Yeah, World Series. Like, I mean, everything. Like, Jonah goes in, day out, puts in all the work. I mean, he sits there before every game. He's on a computer scouting report for the team. Like, how does it base off who's starting, and then we'll have a whole thing of like, if this pitcher comes in, I can do this or that, and like he goes so in depth with it, and he's so smart behind the plate. It did surprise me a lot.
To start your career with the Texas Rangers, I know you pitched a little bit for the White Sox, but you would have an issue in the first inning, and you don't have that issue anymore. Like, you're able to start that game and get a 0 on the board now, pretty consistent. What was something that you did, whether it was in the bullpen or mentally, to have your game be a good start when that first inning would go?
The biggest thing was Mike Maddox helped me out a ton, and I think me coming out of the bullpen last year to start the season off helped me significantly. As a starter, you kind of, just in the back of your head, you don't do it on purpose, but you try to pace yourself for all those innings, right? You try to work, you try to figure yourself out. But when I was coming out of the bullpen, there's no pacing yourself or anything like that. It's go time. And so I was able to kind of take that mentality into my starts, and it helped me significantly just right from the get-go, like, hey, here's pitch one, like, hit it, go for it. Like, and it's just never wavering off that. I mean, it's that bulldog mentality of, hey, here's my craft, like, here's my stuff, like, good luck.
And now you are back into the rotation to start the 2024 season off. Are you still in the mentality that I need to have a reliever's mentality at times because it helps so much?
Oh, definitely. People like you said that I'm slotted in but there's no guarantees. I mean, we come through spring, we have so many talented pitchers in big league camp that are extremely good and will most likely be in the big leagues with us or another team. And so, like, every day when I'm in spring, like, I've had a couple conversations about that, and it's like, look, I don't feel like I have my spot guaranteed. I feel like I have to go out there and I need to grind and be able to work and be able to perfect my craft to earn that spot. Hopefully 4 or 5 years down the road, I can finally say that. But for right now, I'm grinding every day just like everyone else.
I don't know what you want to say or can say about this, but the rumblings are perhaps a variation on a splitter that we're adding to the repertoire. Are we free to discuss such things?
Yeah. I kind of let the cat out of the bag today about that, but StatCast popped up finally with the splitter. But it's more towards like Sango's Ghost Fork.
Okay.
So I'm throwing more of like a fork ball. So it's a low spin splitter that creates a lot of depth. So like yesterday, the one I threw was. If people know any of the analytics behind pitches, it was -3 invert and 4 horizontal, so the ball just goes straight down. I started a little too high considering my last one went 47 feet. Probably bounced 2 times to the plate. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get this one in the strike zone, and recording out with it, so I was happy about that.
I'm sure you're getting feedback from your catcher on that. Are you asking hitters when you've thrown that in some sort of inner squad or batting practice? Batting practice might not be a good term for it anymore, but when you're throwing live, do you ask the hitters that you feel like that are going to give you general, like, good feedback? Hey, what did you see from this pitch? When did you see it out of my hand? When did you recognize that it was more of a fork ball than a fastball?
Yeah. I did that right from the get-go, right in my first live. And I would ask my catchers, too, how's the action, how's the shape, what do they see? But my first live was the first time that, I threw it to an actual hitter. So getting their feedback was great. I was able to do it to Evan Carter, Leote, and Langford. And they said that it had real late action. They could see it kind of knuckling a little bit just because it's such a low spin, but they don't pick it up until later, according to them. But, I mean, this whole pitch actually kind of started during the World Series. When I was playing catch, I like to tinker with all my pitches, and when I play catch, I always mess around with certain things. And I gripped this pitch and I started throwing it, and it was actually really good. And so I was kind of like, all right, well, maybe this offseason I'll kind of play with it and see where it goes. And so after the offseason, after we won and everything, and I was able to sit down and kind of like break down, this past year. I try to do that for a couple days during the off season to break down, and then what do I need to work on. One of my weakest pitches was my changeup, which used to be one of my bread and butters, and just the velocity of my changeup got so high that it was essentially becoming ineffective at times, where I'm throwing a 91 mile an hour sinker and then I throw an 88 mile an hour changeup. The separation isn't big enough, so I wanted to work on something new to be able to create that difference. And so I started throwing that pitch in the offseason, and it actually turned out to be pretty good.
Is it irritating you that Jared's standing over your shoulder like
Yeah, I was
that?
kind of
Not
hoping
at
you'd
all.
say something.
I love that guy. He's the best.
He is. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
That dude puts in great work. We had a conversation about what Randy Johnson said recently about pitchers not getting to learn how good they can be by not going deeper, getting out of jams, and having those moments. You had a couple of moments last year. You had some really big games where you got to go a little further, and I don't know if it's the trust from Boach or what, but they were like, no, just let's see him go do his thing. What's that feeling like?
It's great. I know. I mean, speaking from all pitchers' perspectives, and now being on both sides of things, where it's coming out of the pen, and then have to come in with traffic and trying to work out of it. Being on the starter side, obviously you want to finish your inning, right? And you come out of a game, let's say your teammates, unfortunately your runs get cashed in. It's a crappy feeling because you're out there sitting there thinking I could have gave it up or I could have got out of it. But the thing is that it's a team game. So when the coach pulls you, your job's done. You could have got him out, and then plain and simple. So I try to take that mentality when I go through. But now being on the opposite side of things, I was more frustrated when I gave up a teammate's run than when I gave up my own. It was it's just that feeling where it's that starter comes out, he's worked his butt off to get to where he was at, and then gets in a little bit of trouble. You come in, and it's like when you don't shut the door immediately, and you don't you end up giving up those runs, it's an awful feeling. You just feel bad. I feel bad for my teammate. I feel like I need to get them something or something like that, like a bottle of whiskey, hey, sorry. But no, and that's the beauty of baseball, though. It's a team sport, right? You're relying on every single person, top to bottom. You're relying on every pitcher, every starter, everything. And so, everyone derives from the best, but no pitcher has thrown a zero ERA, right? Bob Gibson has the lowest ERA of a 1.12 or 1.2 or something like that. Even he gave up runs. It's going to happen. But back to your question, where Boach was just having Boach, kind of having that old school mentality of hey, let him out there, let him work out of that. I think you learn a lot from yourself of figuring out how to get out of jams, figuring out, hey, they're letting me do this, let me grind, and it just gives you that confidence. And so going through that outing where you do get out of that jam, you feel great.
Is there ever a negotiation on the mound anymore about whether you can stay in the game? Because obviously the game's evolved. It feels like you used to be no, I got another batter.
Yeah,
it feels like that has disappeared.
No, yeah, it definitely has, especially now, the pace of the game's so much quicker that you can't really do that. Boach, as soon as he takes a step out, he's usually pointing, and then it's you can't be no, because bullpen guys coming in and stuff like that. Maybe if I'm Scherzer with 15 years of service time, it might be a little bit, but for the most part, no. It's right from the get-go. You're out of there.
I think about when you got traded for Lance Lynn and you came over here, and the team that you were with, and now the team that you're on. You can go to Max Scherzer. You can go to Jacob deGrom. You can go to Nate Eovaldi. You have Mike Maddox as your pitching coach.
Yep.
You have a lot of resources to ask questions to.
Definitely, yeah.
Who is maybe give an example of something that a teammate has said to you that's really helped you out in the last year?
Well, Eovaldi is probably the biggest when it comes to that. Today, for example, I threw yesterday. I didn't have a great outing yesterday. Just felt sluggish. It wasn't my best. Eovaldi was in the video room before me watching my outing, and I'm sitting there, I'm that's the type of teammate he is. He's going to go out there, he's going to watch it, and then he's going to be hey, listen, this is what I saw, and I think you could benefit from this. And that's where it goes a long ways of, that's where, last year's team was so great, is that everyone top to bottom was doing that. Everyone helped out each other, everyone pulled from the same side of the rope, and it made the season a lot of fun, because it wasn't just about me. Even though I'm the one pitching, it was the whole team. So Eovaldi was fantastic with that. I know. And then speaking on how you said you had the first season I was with, we weren't a great team and stuff like that. But I learned some of my biggest moments from there, just watching Kyle Gibson or watching Jordan pitch. It was you learn so much from those losing seasons, and you learn how much you hate to lose, but you also learn things that, for me, if I came up on a team that was constantly winning and I pitched like the way I did those first 2 years, I might not have been up there. So you learn a lot about yourself. You learn what you need to change. You need to learn your routines and stuff like that. And Kyle Gibson was a huge help to me in that first year of, hey, like, you need to plan ahead. You need to do your homework. You need to do this and like get a set routine down and then go from there. And so, a lot of it is just every season. It's I've been in baseball since I was a kid, and every season I'm learning something new.
One more?
Do we have somebody standing outside that we need?
They're telling you to wrap it up.
Oh, okay, all right. Last one here. We
Yep.
talked a lot of pitching. Do you want to pitch against your guys, or are you like, man, good luck to all the pitchers that have to deal with that lineup?
No, I mean, definitely a little bit of both. I mean, it's definitely good luck to everyone who's pitching against our lineup for sure. But no, I mean, like, I like throwing lives against our team just because I get to see what a lot of other pitchers, don't get to see, and be able to face people like Corey and Marcus and Nate and Adolis and stuff like that, like some of the best hitters in baseball. It's really cool. I mean, I'm not afraid to throw to anyone, and like I'll go out there and I'll throw my 90, I'll throw it inside, and we'll see what happens from there.
Well, we appreciate the time. I know you got a boogie. We would love to have you back on anytime.
For sure,
Very
man.
insightful answers. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dane
give me a
Dunning.
handshake.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh,
right
sorry.
here
Yeah.
There we
on
go. Yes,
105.3
sir.
The Fan.